Welcome to a new episode of Ausfahrt.tv in what I call English, and I'm your host. Hello, Mr. Z. We're in Bielefeld, our hometown today, and we're going to present you the Porsche Cayman S. And for those of you who are not familiar with our format yet, just a few words. Our reviews are quite a bit longer than everything else you know from YouTube or television. But don't worry, if you scroll down to the description of this video, you find jump markers. Our videos are always structured in the same way. They always have the same chapters. So you can jump from chapter to chapter if you're bored by some stuff I show you and you want to go ahead, or you say, well, I just watched 2 chapters today and 2 chapters tomorrow. Besides that, in the description you'll find the technical specification of our test car, as well as links to other reviews that are related to the test car. Back in 1996, there was a big impact actually for the Porsche community, because Porsche introduced the Boxster. And I remember myself, I was thinking, what's that? That's not a 911, that's not a Porsche. But however, the success of the Boxster was proven that Porsche's idea about a smaller Porsche was just right. It sold very well. In 2004 they introduced the second product generation, and 1 year later they gave the Boxster a roof, and that's the Cayman. That's the car we're presenting you right here. In 2012 the Cayman was introduced with a second product generation, and that's the car we're showing you right now. With a switch from the first to the second product generation of the Cayman, the Cayman gained a little bit more of wheelbase. The mirrors were put on the doors, and it got a little bit bigger rear window, but that's not too interesting. I think what really is interesting is that Porsche managed to sell the Cayman with a more expensive price than the Boxster. Normally we have the convertibles always more expensive than the car with a roof, and Porsche managed to sell the car with a roof more expensive than the convertible, or roadster rather. Okay, by the way, we like the Cayman for one reason, because we're living in Bielefeld, and across the hills there's a city called Osnabrück where this car is built in the former factory plant of Karmann, if you know the Karmann Gia, for instance. Alright, do we have competitors? Quite a few, I guess. I'm just naming the one familiar for us here in Europe. So we got the Audi TT RS, which is not available in the newest version yet, so I hope it's coming next year and we can drive it. We got maybe the BMW Z4, even it's a roadster, but same difference. We got the Nissan 370z, Nismo even, and the Alfa Romeo 4C, for instance. And one is missing, the Mercedes-Benz SLK, no, the Mercedes-AMG SLK 55. The Porsche Cayman is mid-engine, so the engine is sitting right here behind the seats and in front of the little trunk, and there's no way I'm getting through to it. We can remove those caps here, 2 caps. And one is to check to fill in some oil, and the other one for the cooling water. However, Porsche is offering the Cayman with 4 different powertrains. So we got the Cayman without anything, Cayman, that has 275 horses. Then we got the Cayman S, the one we are driving here right now, or showing you, or reviewing, or whatever. It got 325 horses. Then we got the Cayman GTS with 340 horses, and pretty new, the Cayman GT4 with 380 horses. Well, here it is. Under this carpet we find our engine, and it's a 3.4 liter 6-cylinder Boxster mid-engine. It has 325 horses, and it's good for maximum torque of 370 Newton meter. You get them in a range between 4,500 RPM and 5,800 RPM. The Cayman always has rear-wheel drive, and you can choose between a 6-speed manual transmission or a 7-speed PDK, a dual clutch automatic transmission. And since I'm an old guy, we got the dual clutch here. Well, here we got the basic specification. Well, here we got the basic specification of the Porsche Cayman S for you. This baby accelerates from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour or 62 miles per hour in 4.7 seconds because we got the PDK and the chrono package. It accelerates from 0 to 200 kilometers per hour or 124 miles per hour in 17.1 seconds, and the top speed is reached at 281 kilometers per hour or 175 miles per hour. The gas tank of the 2015 Porsche Cayman S is good for 64 liters, which equals 16.9 gallons. Porsche claims a fuel consumption of 8.2 liters on 100 kilometers or 28.7 miles per gallon, which means that under perfect conditions you can drive up to 780 kilometers or 480 miles without getting gas. In terms of CO2 emissions, the 2015 Porsche Cayman S sets free 190 grams per kilometer according to Porsche. The Porsche Cayman S has a length of 4.38 meters, which equals 172 inches, with a wheelbase of 2.48 meters, which equals 98 inches. It is 1.3 meters high, so 51 inches, and it is 1.8 meters wide, so 71 inches. As of the turning circle, you need at least 11 meters or 36.1 feet of free space. The curb weight is 1,370 kilograms or 3,020 pounds. The admissible total weight is 1,695 kilograms, which equals 3,737 pounds. In Germany, our test car would cost around about 82,500 euros. Well, as you might know, Porsche is not really offering different trim levels, so the engine sort of gives you the trim level. So we got the trim level S here. However, if you look in the Porsche configurator, you can see that you can change everything or nearly everything in terms of the Porsche individual program, and you can have everything in separate paint and whatever. It's a long list, and just finding the right car for your budget might take a day or two, I guess. I think it's exciting on one side because, hey, I can change everything, but then, it really makes me angry because I look at the start price here in Germany is 64,000 euros, and I'm like, okay, if I take the college money from the kids and if I go to my granny and ask her for some money, yes, 64 might be able. And then you take an ashtray and a radio and some speakers and some painted mirror caps, and bam, 80,000 euros. That's kind of annoying for poor people like me. You, however, you just buy this beast here. Okay, a good example as well is a light. You get the big xenon lights by factory settings, but you can have for a little update, 700 euros in Germany, an active light system, and for 1,000 something another stage of this light system where you have cornering light and so on and so on. It always varies. I've driven the Porsche at night. I don't think that we have active curve lighting. However, I missed to call them and ask for the whole configuration for this car, so I'm sorry for not giving you all the right details. It's my fault. Ashes on me. Okay, let's talk about things I'm familiar with. The color. This color is called Sapphire Blue Metallic. It's one of 13 colors you can choose from in the Porsche configurator. But if you got the money, you can choose every color you can dream of, actually. The Porsche has a ground clearance of 12.2 centimeters, so 122 millimeters. But since we got the PASM, the Porsche Active Suspension Management. A little button in the side where I can switch between sport and normal. Our car is a little bit lower to the ground, so the ground clearance is 11.2 centimeters. Well, our rims are pretty dirty. Don't blame it on me. I told Toby to wash the car. No, I didn't. Just kidding. By factory settings, the Cayman S stands on 19-inch alloys. Those are 19-inch as well, but they're optional. They cost a little bit of extra. Hold your breast. Well, the red calipers, the brake calipers in red, are free. You get them for free, so it's not an extra money. However, the disc brakes in the front have a diameter of 330 millimeters. In the back, just 299 millimeters. And you can configure the rims up to 20 inch, 20 inch if you want to. And the tires in the front, they are 235 wide. In the back, it's 265. Well, let's say baby got back. The braking light, the third braking light, is up here in the window, in the rear window, and it's like all the other lights, full LED technique. And don't get confused, the white light down here, it's not a braking light, that's a rear light, a rear driving light. However, we got a spoiler here that comes up automatically once you drive faster than 120 kilometers per hour. So around about 70 miles. And unless you're someone like Toby or our former mate Jens, well, he's still our mate, then you have a button inside and you can, lift it up and down all the time while driving in the city. Yo, babe, what's up? Okay, what I like is a centered exhaust pipes, a double exhaust pipe here in the center of the car. Looks pretty neat. At least I think so. Alright, now comes the better part. I can hop inside because my feet are already a little bit freezing. The door opens around about 70 degrees. The windows are frameless, as you can see. And we have a neat dorsal panel with a Cayman S lettering. Okay, entering the car is surprisingly really easy. Look at this. I have no problems. I can jump in. In at least all the time, no problems closing the door. Welcome inside the Cayman S. And first of all, I'm 180 centimeters tall, so 5'11". I have enough space for my head. I can put a fist between my head and the ceiling, and I have to add that the seat is lower to the very lowest position. So I have enough space. I'm not like really tightened up, but it is feeling tightened at least. To the sides, I don't have much space. I'm really pressed inside the seat, which is good, for driving. But just for sitting here and telling you, it feels a little bit, not uncomfortable. That's not the right word, but sporty. Well, all over sporty. All I want to do is turn the key and drive along, not talk here with you. But I'm sitting here just for you, so I have to be patient. To the side, I was driving with my mate Jens from Stuttgart to Bielefeld, a 5-hour drive. I was working in the car on the side, I was sleeping, everything was working just fine. So you have enough space to do everything that you do in other cars as well, but just from the feeling, it feels pretty tight in here, which is actually a good thing because it's a sport car, not a big-ass sedan or estate wagon. Okay, talking about the materials, it's all coated with leather here. Wherever I touch, I have a sort of carbon fiber optic applications in between. But it's really, wherever I touch the car, it feels good. I really have to look, here it's finely hard plastics. Thank you, But all over the other stuff, it feels great. Even the ceiling feels like Alcantara. It's all neat and I like it. I really enjoy sitting in this car and enjoying myself in this car as well. By the way, if you're waiting for Toby, he will jump in the car when I get out. So we do this here a little bit different this time. It's just a two-seater, so we have time for it. Talking about using the car, Well, the center is not focusing me, which I think is sad because Porsche is a driver's car. You know, that's not a car especially the Cayman. I mean, just 2 seats, so it's a driver car. It should be focused a little bit more, or focusing the driver. And when I was first driving my first 911, I was just, all those buttons here. What am I doing with all those buttons? Nowadays, I've driven quite a few Porsche, and I can tell you, you get used to all those buttons. After a while, you know where to press, blind even, and it's okay. Yeah. All right, let's start with the regular stuff. The seat belts. No way to adjust it. And that's the length you have here for using it. The seats, we got the sport seats covered with leather even, so everything costs extra. You can adjust our test seats extra in all directions. You can even extend the seat cushions if you have longer legs, which is pretty comfortable. We got a seat heating here, 3 intensities. That's something I was really disappointed, because once you turn it on and you drive and drive and drive, the intensity of the heat is reduced after a while you still see all the 3 bars illuminated. And I enjoy more the systems that, dim down the lights as well. So after a while it's just 2 and then just 1, and then you have to turn it off to turn it on again. And here it's just all the 3 lights are on all the time, even they're not heating anymore. And I would really enjoy if Porsche would work on the seat heating, that it will heat up longer, that the heat lasts longer at least. Besides that, I had no problems finding a good sitting position here, and you can even adjust the side support of the cushion as well as on your shoulder up here. So that's neat too. Perfect seats, very comfortable, even driving those 6 hours in the car. I had no problems with my back whatsoever. Okay, here you go. We got this leather steering wheel. It even got a 12 o'clock marker, even so it's black. And it's not a multifunctional steering wheel. We got little displays in here, so once you put the car in Sport or Sport Plus, it's illuminated here. On the right side, there are letters for the launch control that I have to confess I didn't even use once. I personally don't like launch controls because you have to fiddle around to get it going. I'm just too lazy. I rather push the throttle, It's so stupid. Never mind. You have shifting pedals, and they're pretty big, so you can reach them even if you have to grab the steering wheel for a bit. They tend to be out of metal. Sounds like it, feels like it, so it's a nice feeling. Besides that, we have 4 switches or sticks here. The one for the turning signal and the high beams. And on there is a little push button for the voice commands. On the other side is the windscreen wiper. And down here on the right side, it's a little stick for the board computer. And on the other side for the adaptive cruise control. Both optional. Okay. Oh, and you can adjust it, of course, electrically even. So this is all the way out, and this is all the way up. So just that you get an idea how you can adjust it. All the way in. Oopsie. All the way down. And slowly all the way out again. And that's the position I would like to use. Well, actually, this is a little bit too high for me for comfortable driving. But this way I see all the cockpit. If I put it in my cruising position, cruising. No, I'm just kidding. Then the top of the steering wheel covers a part of the cockpit, which I think it's kind of sad, but it's okay. I could probably, no. Well, that's just the way it is. I see the main part, what is important. That's okay. Okay, enough for the steering wheel. The mirrors are pretty sexy if you ask me, and they're big enough to see all the traffic behind you. Plus, you see the fenders as well. So, or the wheel arches. No, the actual fenders. You know, this is the ass of the car. And it's a good feeling looking in the mirrors, you know, and oh yeah, I'm driving this Cayman. I remember. However, they're big enough to see everything behind you. Not so much for the inner mirror, because you really have to move your head to see the whole rear window. And this rear window is not even big. So, but altogether, they give you a good idea what's going on. And most likely you want to go straight ahead, and that's more important. However, if you look over your shoulder on the left, no blind spot, that's pretty cool. Over on the right, we just have two pillars, A pillar and B pillar. And the B pillar is not really skinny. Actually, it's pretty bright. However, there is a small, well, it's at one point it's pretty small or thin. Well, compared to other cars at least. So I don't really see a blind spot there. I was driving around about, I think, 800 kilometers now with the car. And I had no problems with the shoulder view. So that's fine. As an option, you get a rear camera and, you know, sensors around the car. Our test car has it. And I think the rear camera is really a shame for Porsche. The car's so nice, everything's nice material, blah, 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 and all that. And then you have a camera that gives you a picture, you know, out of a 70s television set. That's kind of sad, you know. They should really improve this. There are other companies that are using other cameras that are much more sharper and give you a better idea what's going on behind. Besides that, it's okay for parking. You know, you can use it for parking if it's not too dark and raining too hard. All right. Yeah, on to the cockpit. So in the center we have a round gauge, the RPM meter, the ref meter. Now I got the word, the ref meter, and it has a scale up to 9,000 RPM, where the red range starts at 7,500 RPM. In the lower part, we have a little display showing us the digital speed, which is really necessary, because on the left side you have the speedometer going up to 600 kilometers per hour. Car runs 280s, and we just have 180 degree of this round instrument for the scale. So the scale is really tightened, and it would be a pain in the it would be painful to really read the current speed out of this gauge. So it's much better to have the digital speed down there. By the way, inside the speedometer we find the daily kilometers or daily mileage and the overall mileage of the car. By the way, you remember the 911 has 5 units, while the Cayman S just has 2. So on the right wing we have a little display for the board computer. Here we see the gauge for the gas tank on the upper part, and in the lower parts current time as well as the outside temperature. And then we can switch with this stick here through the different views. So we got one view for the temperatures of the car, cooling temperature, oil pressure. The audio system has one view, the telephone has one view. We got one view for the navigation system, which is really useful, and I highly recommend it, because this way it's in your view, while down here it's a little bit out of your view and you have to look down. So I prefer this better, and actually it shows more, I guess, from driving. Another navigation screen, a trip computer with 3 different values. Besides that, whenever you are somewhere in some of the views, you can push the button as well and have different options then too, and pull it again, it's back. So the tire pressure, the chrono, so stopwatch comes with a chrono package, a G-force meter, all right, going curves, the current speed limit that the camera recognized, one view for the ACC, and that's it. But I like it, it's easy to reach down here and you can use it all right, and the informations are pretty useful as well. Yeah, down here this display is fine. It's okay in terms of its response. So it's a touch screen. I have no problems with it. You can read this as well as the cockpit easily during night and during daytime. And well, I hardly use this display. Really, I was only focused on this display up here on the right wing. Okay, we get a sort of ambient light, just one color. Up here there are two LED stripes as well as in the door and a little bit in the foot compartment, I guess, but it's just one light, so it's there and you see it. It's nice, but not really that you have to have it. No sunroof. I don't even think there's a sunroof available, but we have the Porsche horn here, and I can press it for you guys. That's how it sounds like.
Jan had no problems at all getting in the car, but I'm a little bit taller. I'm 195 centimeters, so 6'5", and I think it will be a little bit more tricky for me, but actually it isn't. Everything is okay, it's one smooth movement and I'm inside the car. You have seen that getting inside the car was easy, but now I have to say that I feel a little bit tightened up because the seat is in the top back position. I don't know how to say that. Please correct me in the comments. And yeah, well, I have not that much headspace, actually not at all. When I really stretch myself, then I'm touching the ceiling with my head already, and my leg space is very limited. Not with the pedals are fine, but the steering wheel blocks my knees a lot, and to the side it feels actually a little bit tight. And my field of view, the first thing I thought was, wow, the roof ceiling is quite nice, because it's the first thing I see. Like when I entered the car, I looked to the front and everything I saw was the black here. But you can arrange yourself with it, and I think it's okay if you really try, and if you want to drive this car, you will be able to drive this car, I'm sure.
Alright, here's our Ausfahrt.tv, not Ausfahrt, Ausfahrt.tv compartment check. In the door panels we have two different compartments. In the front there's one for wallet, whatever, there's enough space. And in the back part there's a little lid I can pull down, and I can even put a half a liter bottle in there, which fits fine. Besides, inside the compartments you find some sort of clothes, so even if you put some stuff right which is shaking around, it wouldn't be too noisy. Then there's a whole bunch of nothing here, compartment wise. First one is this little tiny thing here, anti-slip surface, not really a lot of space, but it's here at least. Push button, and I can lift the armrest. Here we have a 12 volt outlet, anti-slip surface, and just a little bit of space for something. Up here we find our cup holders, and you can adjust them in size. And if I take my half a liter bottle once again, you know, you can fix it this way and on the other side as well. I don't think that much bigger bottles fit in here, and I wouldn't place them this way. And you can even close this lid while you use the cup holders, so it doesn't look too much like construction work. Okay, and back in, babies. Down here we have the gloves compartment. Good news is it's really big, so you can put a lot of stuff in there. Bad news is, if you want to have the board stuff, the manual and all this in there, it's already full with it. Besides that, we have a 12 volt outlet, another one, an aux in and an USB outlet, so both for the infotainment system. And the whole thing is illuminated. If I reach down here in the foot compartment of the passenger, there's a little net for whatever reason. We have sunshades on both sides, both with a makeup mirror that is illuminated with two LEDs and a clip holder next to it. We have reading lights for the driver and the passenger. no handles, I think I'm done. Well, big mouse strikes again, because getting in is really easy. Getting out is not that hard. And I'm just talking a little bit so you don't see. That's a little bit, no, actually it works fine. I was really surprised because this car is so low, you sit so low on the street, and getting out and getting in is indeed pretty easy even for someone like me. Okay, now it's time to check out the trunk, or rather the trunks, not the trunks, the trunks. I'm sorry, that's my English. However, before I do so, I will show you the key. And usually Porsche always has this neat keys, looks like a Porsche. It is a Porsche, it opens my Porsche. Well, right now it's mine. Just until tomorrow, unfortunately. So on the Porsche we got 4 buttons, unlock, lock, open the trunk in the front or in the rear. And if we don't want to use the key, next to the door sill panel on the driver's side we have 2 buttons as well for opening each of those. Well, altogether you can put up to 425 liters of luggage inside the Porsche Cayman, which equals 15 cubic feet, of which 150 liters or 5 cubic feet you can put in the front. And I like the storage here in the front because a Niata trolley, so a carry-on luggage, fits in here pretty well, and not only 1 but 2, which is always easy for me because in ways of thinking, we travel a lot, so packing is one of our passions by now. Not really, we hate it, but I can even take this car for a holiday because 2 carry-on luggage pieces will fit in here. Except that we even have a little bit no, actually we don't have anything. We have a little light, an LED light. Here's a warning triangle, and down there a little bag, the first aid kit. So thanks to our British friend Brian, we have our measuring tape with inches and centimeters. So I will measure real quick. The trunk is 65 centimeters wide, so 25.5 inches. It is 46 centimeters deep, so 18 inches, and the other deep as well. In the front it's 47 again, or 47 centimeters, so 18.5 inches deep, like inside deep. So we have 425 liters, 15 cubic feet altogether, 150 liters in the front. 5 cubic feet means 275 liters in the rear, so round about 10 cubic feet. And it's even divided into 2 parts. We have a lower part, and look what I found. Carry-on luggage fits in here as well, and an upper part. I was giving Toby a ride. He's smiling. Well, at least he thinks I'm funny. And this is a privacy blind, whatever, security fold, thieves protection, whatever you call it. And you can release it. Looking around, we have 2 lights in the upper part and 1 light here in the lid that illuminates the trunk, all LEDs. And we have those things to tie up stuff in the lower part as well as in the upper part. And I think the lower part is really for carry-on luggage, while the upper part is more for soft bags. Besides that, on both sides we have sort of little drawer or something you can open. It's pretty deep and you can put really a lot of stuff inside, but I'm afraid I would never be able to get it out again. So I'm not sure what the real reason for the stuff is, but you have some more storage facilities there. And since I always use my measuring tape, so the lower part we have a width of almost 70 centimeters, so 27.5 inches, and it is at the lock 43 or 42 centimeters deep, so 16.5 inches. And here we have round about to the lock, I don't know, 22, 23 centimeters, so 9 inches. While on the upper part is 86 centimeters wide, almost 34 inches, and 48 centimeters, so almost 19 inches deep. And here, I don't even know, you probably have around about 10 centimeters of height, so 4 inches. I'm not sure, I told you, one suitcase in the back and some bags, some light bags up there. You can store up to 325 kilograms or 717 pounds inside the Porsche Cayman S. There's no value if you can put something on the roof, but I doubt it. And of course, you cannot find anyone who will install a hook for you. So, welcome. While I tell you a little bit about my driving experience here with the Porsche Cayman S. Well, we got this 3.4 liter 6-cylinder boxer engine right behind me, right behind the seats. 325 horses. They're totally enough for this car. You can have so much fun regarding really driving fast on the Autobahn as well as being on curvy country roads. It's really a pleasure to have all this power, and it's pretty much enough. Yes, the Cayman GTS has a little bit more power and the GT4 even more, but I say the Cayman S just fine. You don't need more to drive in a sporty and fun way. We have 3 different driving programs here. Normal, I'm driving now in normal. I got Sport and Sport Plus, which is affecting the engine or the whole powertrain as well as the steering. And if I put the car in Sport Plus, the PASM, so Porsche Active Suspension Management, goes in Sport. So we have 2 different modes for the suspension, normal right now and Sport later on. We got the 7-gear PDK, which works awesome. I think it really shifts damn fast, and I mean it, damn hell fast, really. Regardless if you use the pedals or the car just does it all automatically. And to me at least, it feels once you go in Sport or Sport Plus, it even shifts a little bit faster. When you're in Sport and even more in Sport Plus, well, the automatic transmission goes higher with the RPM, so got more revs before it shifts. Sounds good, and the same, it shifts back faster. If you're going in 7th gear, for instance, you put it in Sport Plus right now, it jumps back to the 4th gear, and just like this, really, you can hardly see as fast as the digits move here from the control. So the PDK, awesome. I know Guido the Gatewayer, you might know from YouTube as well. He's really a big fan of manual shifting. That's fine, Guido, really. I tolerate it, and well, actually I envy you a little bit, but for me, the PDK is just fine. Works awesome. Why should I, steer with a stick myself? It's just fine. Unfortunately, it rains today, so I would rather have some more impressive driving scenes for you and doing some more stuff here. But actually, I don't want to wreck the car and all the streets are wet. Just a few words to the brakes. When I was driving from Stuttgart up to Bielefeld on Friday evening, we had so many idiots with us on the street, so I had to use the brake every once in a while pretty hard. So one time I was braking really hard to get to slow down from 200, 220 kilometers per hour down to 100. And the brakes gave me not a bit of a feeling that they couldn't handle the situation. So unless you're going to track, I have no experience with a Cayman on track, I think you'll be fine with the regular brakes. when it comes to the suspension, we have two setups. Just regular, that's now, and sport, where it gets way stiffer. However, if you're in a sport setup of the PASM, it is indeed a little bit tight. So if the pavement is not really good in front of you, you jump around really like a little rabbit. Going like 110 miles per hour, 170 kilometers per hour now, well, and back. But you might see, you know, while I drive, that it's the suspension is stiff. Is fine for driving on the Autobahn or even more on the country roads where you want to go a little bit more sporty. But in terms of doing a long trip, you better put it in a normal again, so you have a little bit more freedom for your bag. Talking about sound, I will put it in Sport Plus now, shifts back, and giving the car a little bit of rev, and you will probably hardly understand me now. So 220, well, it's pretty crowded here, I'm sorry, and then the weather. And even starting out, putting my foot on the throttle on 160 kilometers per hour, so 100 miles per hour. In Sport Plus, I feel that the back is coming just a little bit, not even on a straight street. So I handle this car with caution now. I'm sorry. We're talking about fuel consumption. Porsche claims a fuel consumption of 8.2 liters. We got over 1,500 kilometers now, 12.9 liters, which is okay as far as you consider that we drove around about 500 kilometers on the Autobahn faster than 180. So accelerating whenever we could, whenever it was safe and free. So I think it's a pretty realistic value for people who like to drive in this car in a sporty way. Well, that's it. Time to finish our review here about the 2015 Porsche Cayman S. I'm staying in the car because it's pretty windy outside and you wouldn't understand me otherwise. We always like to sum up with our different categories. Driving fun, both thumbs up. It's fun to drive fast with the car. It's fun, even more fun to drive it on curvy country roads. I think that's the full potential of the car. We haven't been to track, but I think it's a neat track tool as well. And even in the city, you get along pretty well with a Porsche Panamera, with a Porsche Cayman, so everything is fine. When it comes to comfort, driving comfort, we say, well, some in the middle. The seats are fine so far. As Toby says, well, you know, after 2 hours they get uncomfortable. I say, well, after 5 hours I still had no pain in the back. However, sometimes it feels a little bit edgy, I don't know. The suspension is really stiff. It's a sporty suspension even in the normal mode. And if the road conditions are pretty bad, you're really jumping in the car like a little rabbit. So it's not a comfortable car, but hey, overall it's a sports car, not a comfortable sedan. When we talk about the usage as a daily driver, I say both thumbs up really. Okay, it's a two-seater. You have to keep in mind no seats in the rear, but for a two-seater you have the trunk in the front, the trunk in the back. You can put 2 Yata trolleys in the or carry-on luggage in the front and have even space in the rear. And it's funny because yesterday we even got our complete our complete equipment in the car while driving somewhere else. So I was pretty impressed. Used as a daily driver, yes, sum up. Talking about the fuel consumption, Porsche claims a fuel consumption of 8.2 liters on 100 kilometers. Well, we say no, not really. At least over 1,500 kilometers, we had a fuel consumption of 12.9 liters on 100 kilometers. But I have to say, at least 500 of those 1,500 kilometers were on the Autobahn, driving more or less full speed or around about 200 and more. So the first 200 kilometers from Stuttgart to Frankfurt, we had like, a slow traffic going around about 100, 120, and there we had a fuel consumption of 8.9 liters, I guess, something close to 9 liters. So if you want to, you can drive this car efficient, but hey, if you want to drive efficient, you don't have to buy a Porsche Cayman, right? So overall, I think it's a neat car. People who laugh at the Porsche Cayman have not driven the car yet, I guess, because it's a real neat track tool as far as I can say. Even I wasn't on track, but I can imagine, because going on the country roads, the curvy, you do have a lot of fun, and having even a full track, with no traffic coming up and speed limits, that might be really fun to have. Maybe one of these days I can take a Porsche Cayman to track. I don't know yet. So, if you have any questions, please put them below in the comments field. If you liked our review, we appreciate your thumb up. And if you want to do something good, either financially, you can use the services Patreon and Tipeee. They are linked below in the description of this video. Or you can share our clips on YouTube, Twitter, or Google+, or put them in your private personal playlist on YouTube. That's it from my side. That's the last review from Bielefeld here in this year, 2015. And we will be back 2016 with the Nayas and the CES with some clips for you. So long. I'm your host, Mr. Z. Stay tuned. Welcome. For those of you who haven't seen our format yet, in the trunk, in the front, and here we got a toll. Warum sagst du mir denn nichts?